Here's a crash course on a quick and easy salsa made with dried peppers, onion, and either a little bit of broth or a little bit of water and salt. The big peppers are called guajillos. The small ones are called arbol, which actually arbol means tree. But the arbol are the spicier of these two peppers. So if you are sensitive to spice, cut way back on the smaller peppers. In general, especially in dried peppers, the smaller the pepper, the spicier it is. I have also noticed that the longer these salsas sit, the spicier they will become. So if it's spicy today, it's going to be even more spicy a couple days from now. The first thing I do is I take out all of the extra seeds out of the larger peppers. I have seen some people do this after they have been boiled and rehydrated, and I've even seen people try to get the seeds out of the arbors. I'm just not that picky to worry about the seeds from the arbol peppers, and the guajillo peppers, it just seems easier just to get them out before I rehydrate them in the boiling water. I tore the guajillo peppers up this time just to fit in the smaller pan, as I was only trying to make a small amount. I let them boil for about, 10, 15, 20 minutes. Depends on how much of a hurry that I'm in. Nothing is critical rocket science here. I learned from a bunch of guys, so this may not be the proper way of doing things, but this is the way I have learned to do them. Once they've finished boiling, I simply take them out of the boiling water with tongs and drop them into the blender pitcher, the little cup mixer that I have. From there, I add just a small piece of onion. Nothing fancy, nothing special. We don't measure ingredients that go into a salad. We don't measure ingredients that go into salsa. This would also be the time to add a little bit of salt and either water or broth. My preference is if I have been boiling some beef, like a roast pieces or stew meat, boil that with some bunch of bay leaves, 4, 5, 6, and then take some of that broth and add in. I ended up probably adding about a half a cup just because I try to add the least amount possible, but the blender requires some. Y'all can take a moment to laugh at the slow-mo here. Caught me in my most typical, not exactly graceful state. Just about dumped the cup over without even realizing it. And it actually is just that simple. My plan for that is for enchiladas, but I've got plenty more than I'll need for enchiladas. Who knows what I'll do elsewise. I'll probably throw some in small containers in the freezer to use for later. I'll make a separate video for the enchiladas, but basically, I only use corn tortillas for the most part. Basically, dip the corn tortillas that are raw in this and then put into a small skillet. I usually use a non-stick for this stuff just because it's easier to clean up. Heat it until the tortilla starts to soften up on both sides. Throw a little bit of cheese in there, fold it over, and set it on a plate. Typically, myself, if I actually sit down to eat it as a meal, I can probably eat 4 or 5 enchiladas that way. Otherwise, I will snack on a bunch of them throughout the day. I hope you have found this neat little recipe helpful, and I'll be interested to hear some of your all's ideas and how you can get creative with it. As always, much love, many prayers, and shalom always.